everybody. We have a really fun day today. Logan is going to share some really fun. I feel like we're at a party.
Fun.
Hosting a coffee party.
Oh, it's like a pampered chef.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Bowden products.
Some really fun tools to help you make the best coffee possible. I am going to preface this saying that Logan...
He's a coffee snob.
If he had his way, he would throw away coffee after a week.
Yeah.
So he does very coffee purist.
I give it 2 weeks.
Coffee purist, I'm going to say. But really, beautiful, really fun products for us to talk about today. But before we start, I want you to talk a little bit about single origin and blends and what the difference is.
So single origin coffee, that's my favorite type of coffee. It's just one coffee from one region.
Or farm.
One region from one farm.
Okay.
And it basically, it has a very interesting taste that can either be good or bad. Most times it's good because we buy the best coffee. But...
so it has a specific profile.
Yeah.
Usually the soil helps determine it.
Yeah.
Well, remember we went to Costa Rica a few years ago and we tried coffee that was like, this coffee was at this farm, this coffee is like a mile down the road, and they tasted so different. And you'd think they, pretty similar soil, they taste similar.
Well, and
not
then
at all.
the soil can change too, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's taking nutrients and giving nutrients. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
like
single
farmers
origins
now? Yeah.
typically have a lot more acid in them, which can taste bitter to a lot of people. So my mom doesn't really like single origin coffees.
I do, though. That's not true. I love Costa Ricans and stuff. I don't like Kenyans.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that, too.
The coffees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but a mocha java. That's
more of a blend,
That's a
yeah.
region.
That's a blend.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so they have very particular tastes and you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
Blends is something that's really hard to achieve a good blend because you're trying to take the individual flavors of the region and combine them to get something better than the original.
That makes sense.
So we're trying to achieve a balanced flavor, whereas a single origin might be too acidic, but once you blend it with other things, you can get a balance and gain the little bit of benefit from each of the flavors.
I have never heard that explained like that. That's
so
super
a
smart.
breakfast blend, or you're looking for a different profile. And sometimes when coffees come in, we need to switch the profiles because that coffee that year tastes a little different. So where you might use a third, you might have to use a half and a. I know we do everything in 3-bag rows, right?
Yeah.
So we try to do everything in threes.
Yeah, and it's weird too because every lot of coffee, which is 200 bags, we have to make sure that each lot is consistent and that the blend is staying consistent. And we go through 200 bags pretty fast, so we're always tasting the blends and making sure that they're right for you guys.
For the right profiles.
Thanks.
Right. And then coffee, the moisture content, depending on that when it comes in. So there's a lot of things. Logan has a really fun area. It's got a little oven.
You make it sound like he has an easy bake oven.
Easy bake.
Yeah, not quite, yeah.
So that you can test moisture and make sure that the coffee we're getting in is fresh.
Basically, it's like a scientist lab, right? He has things that test moisture and, a little oven.
Yeah, one of the most important. So the first brewing method I'm going to show you guys is what I do. It's actually what we use for cupping, and it's how I test everything. And it's literally just a cup. So the coffee goes in.
Is that why they call it cupping?
It literally goes in here and gets ground, and then I put water in and let it sit for 3 or 5 minutes or however long it needs to sit, and then I scrape the coffee off the top and then taste
grounds.
it. Yeah, the grounds, and this is basically what I use most of the time.
That's what most roasters do, I think.
Yeah, pretty much every
and
roaster.
In a real cupping, you'll have 5 different
cups of the same coffee.
Because just in case you got one defect bean or something, because that can alter that one cup, but maybe it's just was one bean, so it's kind of like an average to see.
Yep.
And people don't drink it, they slurp it.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about our coffee tasting that we did,
gosh.
Patty? Our official coffee cupping?
We've done a couple coffee tastings, and it's
No, we did a coffee cupping. We went at a thing to
That's
a coffee
true.
cupping.
It's true.
And we are we laugh a lot, I'm just going to say. So everybody was extremely serious about this.
Yes.
And so
Slurping
they made
in
me
silence.
go first. So you have to take the grounds away, and then you're supposed to, like soup, slurp it in.
You have to like suck the coffee so it touches your whole tongue.
And so I did that, but I don't know, it went up my nose or something. So we're cracking up, dying, thinking we're going to get kicked out, quite honestly, because now we're just all...
We're in a room of very serious coffee professionals. But it was actually, we made the point of it, that it should be like a wine tasting when you do a coffee tasting. It shouldn't be like so serious and pretentious. And, you think about wine tasting, you've got pairings. Right.
So we actually were the point that you should do it like us.
Right, and that, like, some people, like, I might taste sour, but you might taste something else.
Yeah, it's subjective. Just like a smell's subjective, taste is subjective. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know what a Kenya or a bright acidic coffee should taste like, so I can do it in tastings.
Right.
That's not what I prefer.
Agreed.
Just like wine. Yeah. I know what a dry wine tastes like, but I surely don't want to drink it.
She's more of a port wine, dessert wine kind of girl.
I like
and so am I. Yeah.
Fruity wine.
Yes. The sweeter the better.
Wine.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead, Logan.
So the next two methods I'm going to show you, these are actually Japanese brewing methods that are much more popular in the United States now. When I started working in the store, I was 18, I think. So over 10 years ago now is when I got introduced to this kind of stuff.
So lady's 28.
We're going to flash his phone number at the bottom of the screen.
This one right here is called a Hario V60, and you'd put a paper filter and grounds in there. Then this one is called a Kalita Wave. It's the same kind of thing. It has a special little filter. And we actually pour water using one of these gooseneck kettles. And the reason we use these is because you can place the water exactly where the grounds need to be saturated.
And you swirl it, right?
That's why that's important.
And you swirl it around, yeah. So this is like a machine just kind of sprays water wherever. This gives you a lot more control. It'll give you a more even extraction. And it's kind of like a ritual of brewing coffee in the morning, like you wake up. It's kind of like a morning ritual to get yourself going, which is what I like about it.
And I remember, because Logan came to me and he said, I'm going to make you a cup of coffee, and it's Jamaican. I'm like, Jamaican can't be any better. So it just is, it's the perfect coffee. And he made it in a manual brewing method, and it was better. It was amazing how much better, quite honestly.
Do you think it's because the water really soaks the beans all the way?
I think it's just the precision of it and just the even extraction of it. Because you figure probably better coffee machines make better because that's a lot of the. But these are really kind of error proof. Like I know when we did these in our stores and taught them to baristas, they were more forgiving.
Yeah, so I would say the Hario is actually kind of a difficult one to use. Because it's got this giant hole at the bottom, so you have to be pretty precise about where you're putting water. But we used to use these in the store. These are called Kalita Waves. It's actually got like a flat bottom with 3 little holes, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to use. A little bit more
error-proof.
So these are really good. They're not that expensive.
Would you sit this on the top of a cup and pour?
Yeah. You just put it on a cup, or this would have a scale on it, so you can measure how much water and everything's going through it. Mm-hmm. These are my favorite brewing methods.
And you just use boiling water to do that. And a paper filter in both of them?
Yep, they both get different styles of paper filter. If you haven't tried one of these, I would find a store by you that does this kind of stuff because they're really interesting.
Definitely artesian, right?
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive and it takes some time.
And I think, but to your point too, you go back to Ethiopian and the origins of coffee, and it is such a ritual and...
Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Are you coming in here?
I don't think you can get through the door.
I know you guys can't see this because it's off camera, but there is a giant hot cup that is about to knock over our camera.
Jesus.
So
this is Joe Hot Cup. Yeah.
Saying hello.
Apparently Joe Hot Cup needed attention. And there he goes. So So that is our 8-foot-tall mascot, Joe Hot Cup. He's also an inflatable costume.
He is a model, an actor, and
a songwriter, singer. And the person who wears him loves a lot of attention. That person was on our live 2 weeks ago. His name is Kevin.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
Can't
I just said it. It's Kevin, yeah.
Okay. Well, back to the regular scheduled program. You thought we were bad.
Yeah. Crystal knew who it was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Janelle, can't wait to see how this works. You can only guess who this is.
Apparently we needed some livening up, so, you know.
Okay, some other interesting brewing methods I have here. This one, this is actually used to make Turkish coffee. It's kind of cool. They actually have like a hotbed of sand, and they make the coffee in this little cup, and they put it on the hot sand and let it boil. I personally don't like it. I think boiling coffee is a horrible thing to do for extraction.
Well, they use really fine coffee, like powder coffee.
Yeah. So I'm not a huge fan of these, but some people love it.
And especially if it's how you grew up and what you... I mean, I find that a lot. Some people like really bad coffee because that's just to them what coffee tastes like.
Yeah. I think a lot of it goes back to the ritual of the whole thing, too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like it's a ritual to go and sit down with your friends and get something like that.
It is on my bucket list to go to Ethiopia and do that in someone's home where they actually cook
it's really heavy
roast
too.
The coffee.
Yeah, it's got a nice thick bottom to it. So do they? You know, I don't know if you know this or not, but do they drink the grounds with it too?
No. They boil it so hot that the liquid comes up, and then they just pour a little bit out at a time, getting the liquid out.
I've never tried it, so I will try it before I knock it. It doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it would be in my flavor profile.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest ways.
Yeah,
for sure.
And even in Ethiopia, but I heard the coffee is really good. It doesn't look great, but then it's like you serve the eldest male first, and there's just a lot of
like a
tradition and ritual.
There's
to
also
it,
like they put
cool.
like cardamom and milk and all sorts of stuff in it, so it's not just coffee.
Yeah, that sounds more like chai, and that sounds like something I would like. Yeah.
The next brewing method, everyone's probably seen one of these. This is a French press. These are really great. I love French presses. They're simple and easy to use.
And great for traveling.
Yeah, great for traveling, and it's pretty hard to mess it up.
But show us how to do it. Because not everybody knows.
Oh, okay. So basically you would just weigh out your coffee. It goes in.
Coarse ground.
Yep, very coarse ground. You'd put the boiling water in, and then you just put the lid back on and let it sit for about 4 minutes. It really depends, though, how the coffee's ground.
Does that plunger, then you put the plunger down.
Well, after 4 minutes,
then you slowly plunge it and push all the grounds to the bottom.
So that you've got the coffee cup.
Yes. And then all your coffee grounds are kind of here in this little bottom area.
I've never used a French press.
Well, I haven't either, and it's funny though, but I've always heard that it tastes so much better.
It looks super cool though.
Because it doesn't have a paper filter, and so because the paper filter would like absorb the flavor oils that you might have in the coffee, that you're getting that in your French press. Do you find that?
I think it's different. I don't think it's necessarily better or worse than anything else.
Okay.
But it does impart a different flavor.
Okay.
So would it be better to do with, because not all these are really applicable to some of our flavored coffees.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a flavored coffee in any of these methods.
Because it really imparts that flavor out strong, and that's where it can get artificial or it just be overpowering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not good.
I think we've
tried it a lot.
Cherry, and it tastes like baby aspirin.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
And I also wouldn't recommend, like, for a French press, I wouldn't do a super acidic coffee like Ethiopian. I don't find that it's good. Some people might like that flavor, but...
So, like a Costa Rican Lamanita, Terrazoo, Mocha
Guatemalan.
Colombia.
Anything that's, like, a little bit darker roast is going to be good in one of those.
I'm going to try that. I think it just seems like a really cool thing.
Okay.
Even, like... to bring it out when you have gas.
Oh, yeah.
Or when I get breakfast in bed on the weekends, I'd like a little carafe of coffee.
Come to you like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Hint, Joe Hot Cup.
It definitely takes some getting used to, though, because your grind size and then the amount of time is really important to this. So it can taste bad pretty quick if you don't get that stuff right.
And maybe if it was ground too fine, like the little grinds could come back up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a little bit in there. There's always a little bit.
Yeah.
The next one I have over here is K-Cup. I personally would never drink coffee out of one of them, but they are convenient.
Yes.
So if you're into convenience, then it's a great option.
But I mean, a little bit different about it is our actual coffee in those, which is different. That it's not freeze dried. It's
not instant coffee.
Right.
It's real.
So,
coffee,
and I will say 38% of you do use K-Cups. So,
Thank you.
But we've been really honest about that on talking about before. It's never going to make a cup of coffee like coming out of a coffee maker.
Yep.
It's a very, very good
sure.
K-Cup coffee.
Yes.
But it's not, it can't compare.
Yeah.
And another thing about all of these things is if you do have a paper filter, just always rinse them. It doesn't seem like it would matter, but it actually helps a lot. Like in all of these methods, I always rinse the paper filter. In your drip machines, always rinse it. It doesn't seem like it'd make a difference, but it really helps.
What does it do?
It just kind of gets rid of like a papery flavor that you can taste. Well, I can taste it. It gets rid of a lot of that papery
we heard
taste.
That was one of the things for lower acid.
Yeah,
to
it
rinse
helps.
the paper, which I don't know.
It helps make it a lot smoother and get rid of some of the acid.
But then there's
bitterness.
old filters and other things that you can use.
Yeah, for sure. Like this has a built-in stainless steel mesh filter, and you don't need to rinse those. Those are fine the way they are.
So what are all these other lovely ones?
So this is all stuff that we just got in stock on our website for you guys. So this is a gooseneck kettle.
That's beautiful.
If you want to try pour overs, or if you just need to boil water, these look super cool.
Yeah.
And then they're useful for doing like the pour overs that we have by Bodum.
So this is another little pour over, but it's got your filter, so you don't need the paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reusable.
And so how do you do this? So the same. You're just pouring
yeah,
it
you're
over,
just pouring
like,
it right over.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Do you know any idea the price on this?
Oh, I would hate
I
to
don't
say.
mean to put you on the
yeah,
spot.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is really, that's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah, and if you're doing something like that, a gooseneck kettle helps a lot to achieve.
If you want to impress your friends.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at
or
I'm having a little
Mother's Day coffee, right? Mother's Day coffee in bed. Make her a nice, lovely cup of coffee.
Or Father's Day.
Father's Day too, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good presentation and a good ritual to get in the morning. Makes your day a little bit better. We also got some grinders back in stock. This is a blade grinder. Just kind of has a blade that whips the beans around. And you...
So blades aren't great for consistency, but
They're bad
because
for
they're gonna miss
consistency.
some. They're inexpensive. So this is an entry level.
it's about $20 to $30.
If you need something for up north or your camper. I know Logan's like never put it in. But
Yeah.
if you need something in your college dorm room, this is going to be a good option. But it is not going to be consistent.
Right. It's a great way to get freshly ground beans, but you just don't get the consistency. And it's really easy to get from whole beans to fine coffee really quick. So you just have to really watch it.
But, I mean, I'm going to say anything's better than getting pre-ground coffee. Pre-ground coffee, once you open it,
And
you know,
grind
that
it, yeah.
oxygen is because it's ground up. It's attacking all sides of the coffee.
Right.
We've got some coffee makers that push out the oxygen and different things, like putting it in a container, but you still have oxygen in there. So fresh grinding your coffee every morning is
a better way for
going
better
to be
flavor.
a better alternative.
Absolutely.
But then this is the best alternative.
Yeah, so this grinder is a conical burr grinder. It actually cuts the beans instead of just kind of smashing them around. So I wouldn't buy anything other than a conical burr grinder. They're not that much more expensive, and the quality is a lot better.
That you get,
you get a more consistent grind.
Like, this grinder would be fine for something like a French press, but unless you're using that, I would just spend the money and get something like that.
But it's so cute.
Yes.
No, but this is definitely the way to go. If you're looking to really up your mornings and grind coffee,
Fresh,
spend a little bit more, especially when it's something you do every day.
Yes.
And if you get so much joy from it, some of these things I can really add to that experience.
Absolutely.
And this, honestly, makes more of a difference. Grinding your coffee before you brew it makes more of a difference than anything else.
Really?
If you just grind your coffee fresh, it will taste way better than even using any of this stuff. If you just start here, it'll make a big difference.
If you want to up your coffee game, this is the most important thing to do. But I think it's interesting because, just like wines, you become a connoisseur. So with coffees, brewing them in these different methods, they'll taste slightly different. Yeah. But you can really hone in on what your flavor profiles, and it will really enhance the straight and blends. Not so much the flavored. I mean, honestly, we just don't recommend these necessarily for flavor.
No, I would never run flavored coffee.
Now, if you put cinnamon and spices, if you flavor it yourselves, these are fine, good options, but not when you're extracting just that flavor quality.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? I think that was really informative, and now I want all these things.
I know. I was just thinking, I don't have that. I don't have that.
So, okay. Well, anything exciting? Any other news we need to share? I know that Alice in Coffee Land is going exceptionally well.
Yes, we're actually running pretty low on those too. So if you want them, I'd grab them now before they're gone.
And if you want more, get them because they are going to be gone.
Yeah.
But next month will be equally fabulous.
Of course,
we're really
every
excited.
month is equally
I just
fabulous,
have the artwork. I think for 2 months from now, and I think we're running 3 months ahead, curating boxes. So it's really fun, and we appreciate all the support in that, so we can continue to do it.
Absolutely. We have a lot of fun creating those.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us, and I hope you learned a little bit about how to make the best cup of coffee.